If you're one of those that have struggled to find the on-premises data gateway when you go to schedule refresh, I've got some tips that may help you. That's coming up. Hi, I'm Adam Saxton and welcome to Guy in a Cube, a channel dedicated to helping you and your business gain insights by learning and growing on the Microsoft Business Intelligence stack. And today I've got 3 tips that may help you if you're struggling to find the on-premises data gateway when you go to schedule refresh. You may think that you've configured the on-premises data gateway correctly, but when you go to schedule refresh, you may not see an option available for you to use that, and it can be frustrating. So hopefully these tips will help you to get that up and running. Okay, tip number 1 is you've installed the on-premises data gateway, but you still need to configure the data source. The data source is what tells the gateway where to go when you want to access that data and what's actually available to you. You can configure a data source by going to the gear icon, selecting Manage Gateways, find your gateway, and then you can click on Add Data Source. And this is where you'll add all the information pertinent to your data source. That includes the server name, database name, credentials used to connect to that data source, or the file or path if you're using files or directories. That leads us to tip number 2, and that is that your database name and server name have to match whatever was used in Power BI Desktop. This is part of how we determine whether to show you a gateway is available for you or not. If you entered the NetBIOS name in Power BI Desktop, then the NetBIOS name has to be used inside of the data source for the gateway in Power BI Service. If you use the IP address, then you have to use the IP address. These have to match. The scenario I like to use is a customer came to me saying that they entered in the IP address inside of Power BI Desktop, and when they went to the service to create the data source, they used the actual server name instead. And of course, this is not going to find a match for the on-premises data gateway, and so they never saw an option for the gateway when they went to schedule refresh. You can change either one, so if you change the items inside of Power BI Desktop, as long as it matches what's in the Power BI service, you're good to go. And vice versa. So if you change the items inside of the data source, inside of the Power BI service, to match whatever's in Power BI Desktop, then you should be good to go. Okay, tip number 3, and this is probably the most confusing item that I've had when talking to customers, is the Users tab of the data source. If you go create the data source yourself, you will automatically be listed in the Users tab. So when you go to publish a Power BI Desktop file, you will see the on-premises data gateway listed as an option when you go to schedule refresh. Or if you're using direct query or live connections, it will pick that up and know that it's available. If another user wants to publish a Power BI Desktop file and take advantage of the on-premises data gateway, they have to be in that users list as well. Otherwise, they won't see that on-premises data gateway as an option if they go to schedule refresh or when they publish using direct query or a live connection AS. People consuming the reports do not need to be in that users list. But if you're trying to configure schedule refresh for a given data set, or if you're trying to publish a desktop file that is using direct query or a live connection, then you have to be in that users list. If you're not in that users list, you're not going to see the gateway when you go to configure schedule refresh, and you're also going to get an error saying the data source isn't available or the gateway is not available when you try to set up a direct query or live connection. Okay, be sure to set up the data source, make sure the server name and the database name match whatever's in Power BI Desktop, and make sure anyone publishing reports are in that users list, and you should be good to go. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have another scenario that maybe I didn't cover. You can leave that down in the comments below and let me know. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. Every Tuesday I do a tech video just like this, and every Thursday I do a roundup where I look at the last week and share that out with you. Thank you so much for watching and keep being awesome.